The 49ers have a great chance to go to the Super Bowl this year. They got one issue. It's not quarterback. It's not offensive line. It's not the rookie kicker and how he will do. The Niners are loaded at running back. They're loaded at wide receiver. They're loaded at linebacker. They're incredibly deep at quarterback. And this is their year. This is their year. The NFC, in my opinion, is a two-team conference at the top with the 49ers and the Eagles clearly the two most dominant teams. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. Northern California's best barbecue. They're in Corte Madera and Emeryville, open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. But the 49ers' number one issue is defensive end depth, or the lack of defensive end depth. The defensive line has been the identity for the 49ers, and this is where they built their team. This is where they want to be dominant, and they're not as deep at the defensive line as they've been in the past. Now, kind of camouflaging this issue is the fact that they've added Javon Hargrave. So everybody's talking about the D-line in glowing terms. Man, you got Hargrave and you got Armstead and Bosa. All those guys are going to command double teams, and Drake Jackson's coming of age, and those front four are going to be monster. And I don't have any doubt in my mind that that's going to be the case. But the 49ers lost an awful lot when they lost Samson Ebukam, Jordan Willis, and Charles Omenihu. And when you look at what those guys contributed as far as snap counts last year, it's significant. Jordan Willis played 200 snaps. Samson Ebukam played 559 snaps. Charles Omenihu played 572 snaps. He played the most of all three. So when those three guys walked out the door, the 49ers essentially lost 1,331 quality defensive end snaps. Now, Omenihu and Willis, Omenihu played some snaps inside, but he's a defensive end for the most part. And then if you look at the three playoff games last year against Seattle, Dallas, and Philly, the trio of Samson Ebukam, Charles Omenihu, and Jordan Willis averaged 91.6 total snaps per game between the three of them in the three playoff games. The trio played 96 snaps combined against Seattle, 79 snaps combined against Dallas, and 100 snaps combined against Philadelphia. And now what have the Niners done to replace those guys? Well, they brought in some backup defensive ends. Clelin Ferrell. Ferrell played a total of 492 total snaps with Las Vegas in 2022. Austin Bryant played 207 total snaps with Detroit in 2022. And now you got Taco Charlton as well. He played 67 snaps for his team last year, Chicago. And then you've got Robert Beal, who played 368 total snaps at Georgia in 2022. That was his career high in college. So if you just look at Ferrell, Bryant, and Charlton, those three guys played 766 total snaps in 2022. And based on my eyes, I would say if you said to me, who are the three guys most likely to replace Samson Ebukam, Charles Omenihu, and Jordan Willis based on going to camp every day, I would say it's Clelin Ferrell, Austin Bryant, and Taco Charlton. So that means 1,331 snaps walked out the door and 766 snaps walked in the door. So that is kind of a problem. And I talked to Chris Koceric about it. I said, Chris, are you going to play your ones a lot more and maybe just rely less on your twos and threes? I asked him this the other day, and here's what he had to say.
Chris, will we see differences in the snap count? Because last year you had guys on the bench, or the second unit was almost as good as the first. You had you had 10 starters. This year you got a lot of greatness up front in your ones, but your twos and threes might not quite be at the same level. Do you think you're going to see the same kind of rotations, or do you think the number ones will wind up playing a lot of more snaps?
I've always believed in a rotation with the way we want our guys to play. And like you said, it's a little bit different for every position and different games, different different demands that we feel like a Sunday is going to put on those guys. But with that said, we've always believed in depth, having a deep D line, and be able to come at guys in waves, because we want our guys playing we want to be the best effort D-line in the NFL. You know, it's very hard to do, easy to say, very difficult to do. And if you got guys out there playing 70 snaps a game, one, you're not going to be able to generate that type of effort for 70 snaps. It's physically, humanly impossible to do. So when they feel like, you know, they're at a point to where they can't give that type of effort, let's get them out, let's get them watered up, let's get them back fresh, and let's get them back in there. And then, you know, as the season goes on, effort and physicality goes down, unless you're dealing with a primetime game where everybody gets up for those, you know. But you look at the physicality and effort week 1, and then just plug on the tape week 17 before the playoffs start and just see what it looks like then. It's not the same. Week 17, we want to be playing with the same physicality and effort as you see week 1. We're going to roll, guys. We have talent here. We believe in building depth, and we believe in playing that depth.
So you heard Kosaric right there. He has no plans to, you know, run his number one line out there 70 snaps per game. He wants those guys, you know, ready in the playoffs. So, and you heard what he said. He said, I'm not running my guys out there 70 snaps for 17 weeks. They won't have anything at the end of the year. They won't have anything ready for the playoffs. So the Niners need quality defensive end depth. And he's not going to overplay his first team D-line. He's not going to play them 70 snaps a game to make sure he gets extra, pass rush. So he needs a defensive line rotation that's deep. And the Niners clearly need defensive end reinforcements. And that's why they brought in Charlton. That's why they brought in Dalen Hayes. The Niners need defensive end depth even if they have Bosa. And this is without anybody getting hurt. If somebody goes down with an injury, they're desperate for defensive end help. So, I mean, if they suffer any defensive line injuries at all, they're going to be in a very, very tough spot. So what is the solution? Well, the solution is you can hope that Robert Beal Jr. is a rookie revelation, or that Taco Charlton suddenly fulfills his vast first-round potential that people saw in him at Michigan, now in his 8th NFL stop. He's been in Dallas, Miami, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, New Orleans, Chicago, Jacksonville, and now the 49ers. Can they bank on Cleveland Farrell? Farrell started 58 games in the NFL. He's got 10 sacks in his career. Can you bank on Austin Bryant? He's got 33 NFL games to his credit. He's only had 4.5 career sacks. I think you need to go into the free agent market. I'm going to give you my 5 favorite free agent defensive end options. Number 1 on the list is Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney's had some injury problems. In fact, he's missed 19 games over the last 4 NFL seasons. But the last 2 years with Cleveland, he's has 65 combined tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 23 hits on the quarterback, and 11 sacks. He's really, really good against the run. In fact, Clowney did not miss a single tackle in 2022, if you can believe it. So, number 1 free agent target, if you can get him, in my mind, would be Jadeveon Clowney. Now, number 2 on the list, I'll say, is Melvin Ingram. Ingram's 33. He played for Miami last year. Niners like guys from South Carolina. They got Debo. They've got Kinlaw. Ingram, once upon a time, was a dominant pass rusher at South Carolina. Last year for Miami, Ingram played 17 games, 6 sacks. He had 10 hits on the quarterback. I was going to throw Justin Houston's name on this list. He's a 4-time Pro Bowl defensive end. But as I was doing this video, he signed with the Carolina Panthers for 1 year. I was going to throw Yannick Ngakwe's name on this list, but he signed earlier this week with the Chicago Bears. So these guys are coming off the market right now. So I'll skip Justin Houston and go number 3 on the list. I'll say Jason Pierre-Paul, the former New York Giant who's been around the league. He's 34 now. He played with Baltimore last year. Pierre-Paul had 14 games last year. He had 3 sacks, 3 hits on the quarterback. But he's an awfully nice, long pass rusher with a lot of veteran savvy, and he could definitely help. Another name that I really like is Alton Robinson, who is a 25-year-old pass rusher who had 4 sacks as a rookie coming out of Syracuse. He was a great player at Syracuse. He had 10 sacks in 2018 for the Orangemen, and then got drafted in the 5th round by Seattle, but didn't play at all in 2022 because of a knee injury, and the Seahawks cut him a few weeks ago. If that knee checks out, This is a guy that I have a lot of interest in. As I said, he was a 5th-round pick in 2020. If you go back to 2021, he played 16 games. He had 1 sack. He had 3 quarterback hits. But he's 25. He's twitchy. He's got a lot of talent. The big question with Alton Robinson is the knee. What kind of state is that knee in? So he would be number 4 on my list. Number 5 on the list, I'm going to go with Robert Quinn. The 33-year-old former Eagle, former Bear. Wasn't that long ago that Quinn had an 18.5 sack season. He comes burning off the edge. He's not great against the run. He played 13 games last year. He had 1 sack, 5 quarterback hits. He is getting a little long in the tooth, but I'd have interest in him just because the need is severe. And if I'm going to throw a 6th guy out there, how about Carlos Dunlap? He's 34 years old. He played 17 games with the Chiefs last year. He had 4 sacks. He had 12 hits on the quarterback. Any of those 6 guys, Carlos Dunlap, Robert Quinn, Alton Robinson, Jason Pierre-Paul, Melvin Ingram, and Jadeveon Clowney, any of those 4 guys could help the 49ers significantly. I think they ought to look into that free agent market for an upgrade at defensive end. To me, it's the only thing that stands between the Niners and a trip to Las Vegas for Super Bowl 57. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krueg Show. Thanks to all you guys for supporting the Krueg Show on YouTube.